Hello and welcome to Gemini season. Woo! So today is Tuesday, the 20th of May, and as of 8 p.m. this evening, we will be in Gemini season. The sun transitions from Taurus into Gemini at basically exactly 8 p.m. At 8 p.m., it is 0 degrees in Gemini. So Gemini season is very much about communication and curiosity. And I really feel like this Gemini season has come at such a beautiful time, especially because we've just had this Scorpio full moon, which for anyone that I have talked to, anyone in my circle, as in my social circle, but also the literal full moon circle that I host, everyone has had this real sort of intense time with the Scorpio full moon. I think that's in part due to the fact that one of Scorpio's rulers, Pluto, at the beginning of May went into retrograde in Aquarius. So I think it's been sort of an extra little hit there. And so I'm really seeing this Gemini season as this real invitation and opportunity to intentionally, mentally make the changes that Scorpio full moon brought up. You know, that full moon was all about deaths. It was all about, okay, this is no longer serving me. I'm done. I'm moving on. And now we have Gemini season. To me, it's just this real, like, yes, fresh start. I'm sorting out my mindset to become this version of myself that I am stepping into. So that is what we're going to be discussing today a little bit. All the Gemini information. So Gemini is this real sort of, well, number one, it's an air sign. And air signs are very much connected to the mind, very much connected to logic and communication and thought. But Gemini is the only air sign that is also ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the planet of communication. So I feel with Gemini, we have this extra hit of in the mind, communication, logic, curiosity, and connection as well. When I think of Gemini, it really is, to me, ADHD vibes. It is having an intense focus on something, an intense passion, and wanting to know all the information about it. And then just as quickly as that came on, oh, new thing. Let's jump into that. And I really feel that is it's one of the real beautiful things about Gemini, but it also can, it can be a little bit troublesome. Same with ADHD, speaking as someone who understands that. But I think if we can tap into the benefits, the higher expression of Gemini this season, then this will be truly transformative. So, yeah, as I've said, it's an air sign, it's mutable. So when I say mutable, it sort of signifies flexibility and change. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I don't edit these videos, so there we go. Bless me. So yeah, it signifies flexibility and change and versatility, basically. So as I say, this can get us into tricky situations if we're not sort of channeling it in the best light. However, for me, it is also this amazing gift that it gives us to understand our thoughts are flexible, our mindset and our limiting beliefs. If we don't like them, we have the power to change it. So that is what I'm going to be utilizing Gemini season for this year. As I say, especially after that Scorpio full moon. So I think the key themes that come up for this with me are really embracing duality and multidimensionality. I think we live in a society that so wants us in little boxes, so wants us to define ourselves and niche down. Yeah, that's what society is always telling us we need to do to be successful. And Gemini here is to remind us that that is not the case. It's not the case, especially, I believe, as women. Multidimensionality is one of our superpowers. Our multi-passionate nature, and I do believe that that is the natural nature of the feminine, is one of our superpowers. And just because the world is built for men and the systems are built for men does not mean that we have to live like that. And I think Gemini season again reminds us that we have the power to take back being multi-passionate and multidimensional as our power and utilize it, and not fit into a box, into a box at all, but embrace all of our passions, embrace all of these things that make us who we are. And I just think it's such a gift. It's such a blessing. But it is, of course, as always, it is balancing that with structure and discipline. It's not to say that you limit yourself, but it is to say you need to be very mindful of, I mean, this is a talk for another time, but being very mindful of when am I actually listening to my body and my intuition and my, downloads, I guess. I think about this a lot when it comes to sort of rest. So when am I listening to that? And when am I listening to the ego? When am I listening to, I just don't feel like it today? And it's really understanding in yourself and having a practice to connect to yourself and feel what each of those feels like. Feel the difference between those. So we don't want to always be pushing through, but we also don't want to always be giving in. So it's distinguishing what does it feel like when my intuition and my body is saying, for example, I need rest, and pay heed to that. And distinguish when it's our ego just trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us in our comfort zone. And so I think that does come up quite a lot with Gemini season as well. And then another key theme that I see is definitely harnessing the power of words and thoughts as a tool for manifestation, as I have touched on. Really becoming aware of our go-to thoughts. I think that is a really, really, really big one. What are the thoughts that naturally come up over and over and over and over again just in our daily life? What are the limiting beliefs? What are the go-to phrases that come up? Are you someone that, something happens to you and your go-to is, just my luck. That always happens to me. It always goes wrong for me. Or are you someone that is more optimistic and positive about these things? And once you have awareness of them, really take a moment to figure out, okay, is that thought, is that persistent thought that I am repeating all of the time, is that serving me? Or is it actually manifesting the opposite of what I want? I think Gemini season is a lovely reminder that your words are spells. What you speak, what you think about the most, that is going to be reflected in your reality. So Gemini season draws attention to that and gives us this invitation to change this should we want and need to. And then another theme is, Gemini is really sort of bubbly and lighthearted and just fun. Fun is a good word to describe sort of Gemini energy. And so another key theme, I think, is engaging in playful exploration, and along the same sort of manifestation theme, identity expression. I think one of the best ways to change up your life and manifest the things that you desire is it's all about self-concept, isn't it? It's all about tapping into the version of yourself that has the things that you want, and then playfully experimenting with that. What kind of clothes do they wear? I'm going to dress like her tomorrow. That kind of thing. And again, I think Gemini really helps us with this. It's going to be this natural sort of energy boost towards this kind of thing. And then, of course, the more shadowy aspects of Gemini, one of the key themes is navigating these shadow aspects. So this can be, the shadow side of Gemini can be things like overthinking, thought spiraling, inconsistency, and being superficial. But also, I think when I first started diving into astrology years and years ago, I had a bit of a negative idea about Gemini and Gemini placements, because I think I had experienced a lot of two-faced Geminis. And that can be one of the sort of more shadow sides of Gemini. I think it comes along with, sort of a people-pleasing tendency, and not being sure of, because with Geminis, the brain is so like all the time, there can almost be this tendency to not know your own mind, to not know your own beliefs and your own values, that kind of thing, and be easily swayed. So I think, that's another shadow to definitely look out for and be aware of, is this sort of either letting the mouth run before the brain kicks in, or being swayed and not actually taking the time to sit with something, be it new information, be it a belief you've had forever, and actually sit with it and look at it critically and weigh it up and decide, okay, is this actually something that I believe, or am I just being led? So then I'll touch on some of the key transits. So we have, as I've said, the sun enters Gemini this evening in the UK at about 8 p.m. So this, as I've said, it's going to just initiate this period of communication and intellectual pursuits. For me, this is going to be a real sort of season of focusing on my mindset and these recurring thoughts and shifting those to be more in line with the woman that I'm becoming. And I would encourage everyone to do that. And then I think another big transit that's happening this season is on May 24th, Saturn enters Aries. So this is going to mark the beginning of a new sort of 2.5 year cycle. If you are like me, this marks the end of your Saturn return. Hallelujah. Look, Saturn is going to retrograde back into Pisces a little bit, but that's okay. We're over, for the most part, most of us, over the main sort of peak of that. So that is a relief for me. I joke. Look, my Saturn return has been hard. Again, another chat for another episode. But my Saturn return has been, I've been through some of the hardest things I've ever been through. However, I see the gifts within them, and how they have actually led me to grow and be more aligned. And I don't think I would be here without those challenges. So for all of you with Saturn in Aries, buckle up, because your Saturn return is about to hit. Well, the period of your Saturn return is about to hit. So it's going to really emphasize personal responsibility and leadership and initiating new structures, shall we say. So that's quite exciting. That's quite a big thing, a big transition. And then the new moon is going to be on the 27th, early hours of the morning, British time. So the new moon is going to be in Gemini, because whenever there is a new moon, it's always going to be in the same sign that the sun is in. So whatever season it's in is when it's going to be. And so this is going to be, I will do a separate video on a deeper dive into the new moon. But yeah, it's going to be an opportune moment to set intentions relating to communication, and I would say mindset and learning, and also adaptability. How good are we with change, basically? Are we someone who resists change and wants to control things and hold on to the old? Or are we actually, the word that's just come up is trusting. Are we trusting in the universe, in God, in source, in ourselves even, to understand that change is here for us? Okay, I just paused it there because my little girl was coming in. So yes, that new moon is going to be an opportune moment to set intentions relating to your mindset, your manifestation practice, and your adaptability and flexibility. And as I say, trust in the universe and everything, or even trust in yourself. Trust that whatever happens, you will be okay and you will handle things. And then we are going to have the full moon on June the 11th. Again, I believe it's in the morning. And this will be in Sagittarius, the fire sign. And again, I will do a separate video on that. But Sagittarius is, again, it's very much connected to freedom and higher learning and expansion. So actually, Sagittarius and Gemini, I feel, deal with quite similar themes, which isn't always the case. When we have a full moon, sometimes the archetypes are really sort of opposite of each other, and it's our job to find the sort of middle ground. Whereas, I feel like a lot of the themes that come with Gemini, you can also relate to Sagittarius. So that's quite a fun one. So as I say, happy Gemini season. Really, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to drill it in. Really, I would encourage you to utilize this season to really whip your mindset back up into shape. Really be aware and focus on your recurring thoughts and the common things that fall out of your mouth, and figure out, actually, are these serving me or not? Now, I am going to do a free 30-day Gemini season challenge, which will dive into a lot of these sort of things, little daily practices that will help whip your mindset and your manifestation journey into shape a little bit more. So I will have a link in my Instagram bio for you to sign up to that. I am also going to be releasing my Gemini season Astro Alchemy booklet. It'll have a little bit of what we've talked about here today. It'll go into a little bit more detail on the transits that we can expect. And then it will look at, so I will need your birth details for this. And then it will look at what house, what life area in your personal chart Gemini sits in. So what is this season going to be bringing up for you based on your personal natal chart? And then I'll have journal prompts in that and all that good stuff. And rituals, all the good stuff. And as part of that, you will automatically get the checklist for the 30-day challenge. And then I will also be opening up a few for the next sort of week, only the next week really, a few spots for a mini Astro Alchemy reading. So this will be where I look at your chart, I look at the life area that Gemini season is in, and I will see what potential things are happening for you personally because of what sits in that house, and how it's interacting with your chart as a whole. So if you want one of them as well, everything will be linked in my Instagram bio. So go and follow me there, and yeah, send me a DM. I hope that you have enjoyed this little intro to Gemini season and that it has been helpful for you. And yes, I hope that you thrive this Gemini season and yeah, really get your thoughts in order. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.